Hello and welcome to GPTV on the first edition, Gary, for autumn, the 2nd of March in the year 2021. What happened to summer? It didn't happen at all. What's your view, Gary?
It did happen, and look, in terms of real estate, Phil, it was a scattered month because you've got the Christmas period, of course, when nothing really happens. You've got a lockdown over here, a lockdown over there. You know, it's so hard to keep up with the rules, you know.
Do you know what, Gary?
Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Space, you can have an auction, it's got to be outdoors. It can't have the public. You've got to be spaced apart. There's got to be a zone over here. Now you can go indoors. Now you can have 50 people, no, 10 people, 5 people, 12 people. That many people can register. That many people can't register. You have to stand there. The bidder's got to stand over there and here. Open the office, but only have a quarter. No, you can have a half. No, they have to wear masks. No, they don't have to wear masks. So, I mean,
shake them bum.
I'm trying to do the right thing. Well, I'm just finding it so confusing living in Victoria.
Thank you for all of that, Gary. What I was clearly referring to, though, was the weather. Summer. We did not really have a summer this year.
I don't know. It was pretty hot last week, Phil. I think pretty warm. I tell you, Sunday was warm, and the real estate market was hot on Sunday, Phil. It was smoking hot, wasn't it?
Do you know, Gary, trying to turn this into a issue and an episode about the weather. Viewers, if you do like hot weather, clearly something happened in Melbourne over summer. It's probably going to be a very hot autumn, but as somebody that doesn't really like the hot weather, I must say there was really only maybe 2 days of summer where I thought, don't really like this.
So what does that mean for global warming then, Phil? Because I'm not going to get political.
Get your red cap out saying you want to make Australia great again.
I've got my MAGA hat out. No, I haven't got that on, Phil. As much as we'd like to throw around and have fun flirting with political views, but you know, global warming, should that have meant that we should have had a hotter summer?
No, Gary. It just goes to show your complete ignorance about climate change. It's not global warming anymore. It's called climate change. And the fact that we might have an abnormally cool summer is all about climate change.
It's a big problem for me, Phil.
You moron.
No, it's a big problem for me, Phil, because I've got to tell you...
right-wing fascist moron.
Not at all, Phil. I've got a completely different agenda, you see. I've got a problem with climate change and with global warming and heating, Phil.
Climate change, not global warming?
Well, with things getting hotter, because Order of Command likes a wet track. So we're taking it to Sydney, Phil, and it's looking for rain. So we're all walking around doing our little rain dance for Order of Command.
Obviously is Gary's one and only horse of any significance.
Just sold one, Phil.
By the time it actually wins a Group 1 race.
No, it's not far away.
Probably won't have its teeth, and that's not a good sign for a horse.
I just sold a horse, Phil, a very expensive one that I had a share in. We just sold it now for $1,750. Do you reckon that was a good investment?
What did you buy it for?
I don't think I want to say that, Phil, because I think people won't even want to tune into the show.
Alienate the viewers. The viewers already think that you're this incredible magnate, this wealthy, fat capitalist running dog. All that thing. But nice to see you in a tie today, Gary. And the viewers may be wondering why Gary is wearing a tie when it's pretty much become a much more informal show. Gary's wearing a tie because at the start of the meeting that we had prior to filming GPTV, these bruises around his neck, which he claims is a result of having a wisdom tooth out.
It is, Phil. It is indeed.
So some serious bruises around here where there's generally only one reason that you have those bruises. And sadly, as this is not an X-rated show, we can't talk about them. But nice to see you've covered up your bruises.
Sadly, your filthy mind goes beyond the depths of medical issues, Philip. But I did have a wisdom tooth out, which I'd never had before, and it did come late. And of course, there's a big bruise there, Phil, because I think when they do the operation,
the wisdom tooth is up here, but your bruises are down here.
Yeah, because they put something through your neck.
It may well be that your wisdom tooth was so difficult to get out that the dentist had to put his boot on your throat, where he's kind of levering out that wisdom tooth.
It's hard to get rid of all the wisdom I've got inside me, Phil. That's for sure. That's what you learn from it. Shall we talk a bit about property? Because there are some people that want to actually know what's happening in the world of real estate. And oh boy, hey, by the way, Phil, I was in Sydney, as you know, last week.
I do know.
And
the week before.
How about bloody property? And by the way, you know, GPTV had Darren on. No love, we're missing you, Gary, or hope you're having a great, or hope you're okay, hope your neck's okay. No, absolutely no love. Where is the Sydney love? But I got to tell you, when you complain about property prices in Melbourne, just head an hour on a plane up north, go and see what's going on in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. Phil, it is insane on a whole new level. Bed sits, little one beds, a little
Bed
one
sit-
room,
bed sit
no parking.
is not even a one-bedroom apartment.
Not
You
even a
just
one-bedroom.
walk straight into one room, and it has a
This is
bathroom
on the
attached to it.
this is sold by Paul Langston, great agent in Sydney, good man, just near Old Southhead Road, Phillip. You know, on the cusp of Bellevue Hill, not in the prestige part. Nice apartment, no parking, 820,000, one room.
Yeah,
A semi-detached.
did have an incredible view.
No, it had no
doubt,
view. It
Bondi
had no view. Bondi Beach, nowhere near Bondi, right backfill, no view.
Right. View over the heads?
Oh no, no view. They've got the new bed sits that they're building next to the Adina Hotel. It's being sold by another agent there, the Jeremy Wiesner, good agent in Sydney. By the way, Phil,
Dropping these names just so he can make his trip to Sydney tax deductible.
Exactly. You don't mind, I paid it through the company, do you, Phil? But $1.5 million for bed sits there in Bondi with a view, Philip. A semi-detached home in Sydney, but a very good one. It will make you cough, it'll make you sneeze, Phil. $9.7 million for a semi-detached one of a pair. Now, they're not all like that.
Okay,
but,
I'm sure that
it's crazy.
one was special.
That one was spectacular, Phil. But, you know, ordinary semis, $3 million, 2.5 semi-detached homes. Phil, it is gone crazy in Sydney. So,
viewers,
be grateful
just
that you're
to pick
paying
it up,
Melbourne
because
prices.
this one was reported, I think, online, courtesy of Domain, and we will show this online because it's worth having a look at.
Let's do that.
North Bondi, I saw this two-storey attached townhouse in North Bondi. Now, what's the equivalent suburb in Melbourne to North Bondi?
Maybe South Yarra? Call it South Yarra.
All right, South Yarra.
Probably,
so this product in South Yarra, I reckon, would have sold for $3.5 to $4 million. I'm going to show you this property in North Bondi, an attached two-storey townhouse, quite nicely done, but we'll give you the link as well that you can go through to. Sold for $6.6 million, where that in South Yarra would be $4 million flat out. So it looks like Sydney prices in the wealth belt are probably 50% or more higher than Melbourne.
Now, I've asked buyer advocate Simon Cohen, another person that I know in Sydney, Philip, why is it so?
Yes.
How are things going? Because, of course, you know, I'm interested to know what's going on.
Yes,
and,
you are interested to know.
And why is it so? Anyway, he explained people they bought like a semi for 1.4 5 years ago.
Yes.
It's now worth 2.8 or 2.9. They might not have had too much debt on their 1.4 semi, so they've now got, you know, a very nice capital gain, free, you know, amount of money, a couple of $1 million, Phil, perhaps.
Yes.
And off they go, and they're borrowing another $3 million at low interest rates, and lo and behold, everyone wants a house for $5 million.
You've actually taken a very long journey around the marketplace to come back to the central proposition as to why property prices are going up in Australia. Very, very simple. This low interest rate environment that we are in is without question fueling an increase in property prices right across the nation, particularly as we come out of COVID, where there is now a feeling of euphoria to not being locked down, to not being depressed. There is a property boom, and it is game on without question, given the fact that, Gary, how many auctions do we have last weekend?
Lots.
So, viewers, we had 36 auctions last weekend. We sold 32 or 33, who can remember? 84% clearance rate against the weekend. And keep in mind, anything over a 75% clearance rate is a boom market. So it's game back on, and also that's off the back of a massive weekend the weekend before. So this is looking, Gary, like a huge real estate year. And we remind the viewers, Gary has been doing, Gary's been in the game for 60 odd years. I've obviously been in the game a lot less, but in our lifetime, we've never seen residential real estate cash flow positive off the back of borrowing 100%. So today, if you can borrow 100% and you can structure your affairs to do it, you can borrow 100% of the purchase price, put a residential tenant in, and the rental will not only pay the interest component, but you'll have money left over. That's what we call a cash flow existence in property. We've never seen it in our entire career.
And Phil, I think if you're feeling that property prices and buyers watching the show would feel property prices are hard to get, it's very expensive in Melbourne, I can tell you it's certainly not as expensive as it's going to be by the feel of it. It's not a guarantee, warranty or a promise, but it feels like things are on the move. Michael Yardney, who of course from Metropole does a property report, said just yesterday, Philip, that it looks like the property market is on the way up. There's predictions, I think one of the banks said it's going to double or something like that in the next 3 years. I mean, there's all these crazy predictions, people coming out, not Michael's because he's very conservative and knows his stuff, but certainly it looks like we are on the cusp of further price increases. So I know that's bad news for buyers, good news for sellers, but plenty of good results.
You know what, Gary? There's a lot of people that say that the property market in Australia is unfair. This is not a social commentary platform. Well, it is, I suppose, a social commentary platform. All we can do is deal in the facts, whether it's fair that first home buyers are having such trouble getting into the market or not. We're just here to deal with the facts, but certainly first home buyers, you've got to do everything possible to get into the market. And the one thing about being a first home buyer, Gary, and we've been there, right? Property's never been easy to buy property. Obviously, it's become more difficult over the generations.
I mean, we had to come from somewhere, didn't we?
But ultimately, viewers, and perhaps if you're a first home buyer watching this, or you're the parent of a first home buyer, the spending behaviour, the spending patterns of first home buyers radically changes when they get on the mortgage wagon. A mortgage is a wonderful reason to get out of bed in the morning, but certainly one thing we notice about young people, Gary, is that their spending habits dramatically change once they own property, and it's probably for the better.
It is indeed. Do you want a good tip, by the way, Phil? A good tip for the viewers? Lakes Folly on Saturday in Adelaide, running good
is that
each-way chance.
Is that a new horse, is it?
No, it's won a few races already. Lakes Folly, Saturday, Adelaide, each way. Phil, getting away from racing, getting away from just wildly talking about the market, because people would know that we have our views and opinions. Often we're right, not always. This is a show about nothing with a bit of real estate in it. Let's talk about some of our auctions for the weekend, Phil. We had some crazy busy auctions.
Well,
and by the way,
Gary,
I thought it was a bit of remiss of you, I've got to say, a bit remiss of you, hinging on Negligent. Last weekend...
Hinging on Negligent. You've made a statement now, Gary. Yeah. If the vendor of the property where I was hinging on Negligent is watching, we're going to be sued.
You don't know my point I'm going to make because you cut me off and talk over you. Irene, can you just have a chat to him again about it? I thought it was remiss in hinging on Negligence for you not to have talked about last week, something that happened that was quite extraordinary, Phil, last week's auctions, because a lot of people came and bought seeing the property for the first time. We're seeing that back in the marketplace, Phil. People will go and they'll want to buy television. They'll go to the Good Guys. They'll go to, Costco. They'll go to, I don't know, all the different places to find a Harvey Norman, whatever. But people will come to and they'll look and they'll compare and they'll check and they'll think but people will go and they'll spend millions of dollars sometimes, Philip, on a home seeing it for the first time. So tell us about what's going on there, because I thought you would have mentioned it last week. It happened a few times last weekend. I think it happened on the weekend again.
So in a busy market, Gary, in a market that has got strength and a market that's going up, one thing that we do find with buyers is that an educated buyer, that is somebody that's done their research, has looked at a lot of properties, can actually come to a property on the day, look at it, walk around the garden, tap the walls, go up and down the stairs, and make an educated opinion about its value. A lot of not first home buyers, but a lot of buyers that are astute are able to walk onto a property, partake in an auction, buy something if they've never seen it before.
It's amazing, isn't
it? There is no rule that you've got to see a property second, third and fourth time. If you've done your research, if you've seen enough homes, if you've been to enough auctions, I think it's fair and reasonable to buy a property that you've never seen before on the day, having inspected it.
Well, there you go, Phil. Seen it, liked it, bought it. That's the story of many buyers out there. Only once. Saw it once, liked it once, bought it once, bang. Phil, we started last week, before we go into the weekend of auctions, hey, we had a pretty good block of flats auctions in Orange Grove.
A block of apartments, Gary. You don't refer to flats anymore. They're a block of apartments. That's Orange Grove. Apartments numbers 1 through 7, 5 2-bedrooms, a 1-bedroom and a 3-bedroom. I love these generational assets, Gary. And there was a beautiful story. There was a big crowd, and whilst the price is undisclosed, I've got a lot of heart and a lot of sentiment for the post-Holocaust generation of people that came out to this country having gone through absolute, something that is unimaginable, come to this country with absolutely nothing, start a business, get a job, work hard, bring up a family, leverage themselves into buying a block of apartments, which so many of that generation did. So this was a family that had built the block, the parents had built the block, and moved into the block. The 3-bedroom apartment was their apartment. So they managed to recreate a life in Australia. The children were selling this block after 50 years of ownership. And one of the children said to me before the start of the auction, you know, Philip, today, not by design but by coincidence, today my father would have turned 100.
Is that right?
And
there you go.
I've got to tell you,
that was the vendor of that property.
Yeah, the chill went up my spine as it is going up my spine now.
Wow.
And it was so beautiful to deliver an outstanding result for those people, given the historical context to that sale. So for those of you that are watching that think real estate agents are cold, callous, unpleasant, greedy, vicious people, that is all true, but that doesn't mean we can't be sentimental.
Yes, exactly right. Well, there you go, sentimental. And of course, I was very sentimental on the weekend because I went to an auction with someone I haven't seen for many years, who I actually lived with at one stage.
Who you owed money to?
No, I didn't owe money with, and it was very, you know, we lived with a friend of ours, her partner, in fact, who passed away well before time, and that was a very emotional time for me. But anyway, Philip.
Well, we don't want to bring the show down,
no,
Gary, with all of this talk. Let's bring it up.
But
bring up the
story of the story of the struggling immigrant is a great Australian story, Philip.
It is.
And there weren't people that came out of a worse background than, of course, a lot of those Holocaust survivors.
That is true. But think about the fabric of the Australian society, Gary. We are the greatest multicultural country in the world.
It works here, Phil.
And there is no question people from all over the world have been able to make a better life here. And so far, and we should never take this for granted, so far, right across all the diversity of this country, whether it be ethnic diversity or religious diversity, so far this country has managed to combine all of that with a level of harmony that I don't think any other country in the world has done. So never take it for granted, and never take democracy for granted either. It is a living thing to be cherished. And if you've just tuned into the show, you're probably wondering, is it a real estate show? Is it a social show? What is it? You'd be confused.
All right, let's move on, Phil, with the wrap of the weekend. It was a big weekend, lots of big results. Orange Grove, of course, one of the biggest results.
And by the way, I
ran
wanted to
away.
put all of that in because I've got a cousin in Sydney, Julia, that watches this show, that after watching a couple of episodes where you were mainly talking, which is rare, but she thought, what a right-wing person you are, which is true in itself. But hopefully, Julia,
I'm not going to go through my politics.
You now
here,
see that this is a show of substance.
I have to remind you and Julia and others that I had one parent on the right and one on the left, so I think I'm very balanced in the way I see things, Phil. Let's talk about some of the results, Phil. We started off on Saturday morning in Rosella Street. That was a great result. Well done to Dan Dyson, one of our young guns in Carnegie, Philip. Sold that for $380,000. Phil, 2 at 54 Orong Road, Elswick. Lots of bidders there.
Through property after
about
property
6
after
of them.
property.
Yeah, we've got nothing to review this weekend. And,
no problems.
And goodness knows, what you've had to say isn't really all that compelling. So
we've had a one-bedroom apartment so far, which is interesting, viewers. We sell properties still.
Yeah, we celebrate them all.
You know, there is the odd property that we're selling under $300,000. Not many anymore, but there are still properties between $300,000 and $400,000 within 5 minutes of where you're probably living. So it's interesting in itself.
There you go, indeed, Phil. 2 at 54 Orong Road, Elstonwick, Orong Road. I mean, by the way, that block of flats or back of apartments, yes, apartments, okay, yes, it's apartments, of course it's apartments. In Orange Grove, there was 8 bidders for that, Phil.
Yes, Gary.
Just wanted to
and
say
there was another 6 people that didn't get a chance to put up their hand.
Right?
Moving on to this villa in Orong Road, Gary. Viewers, you'll be interested to know the 1960s and 1970s.
The villas are back.
Villa. Which is generally a horseshoe block. They're built in a horseshoe arrangement. Those have been repriced. They have become so popular with young people. Because if you think about it, your alternative is you can't afford to buy a house anymore. So you don't want to live in an apartment.
No.
You don't want anybody above you or below you.
Yes.
You buy a villa.
Yes.
It's got a little garden.
It has.
It's generally got a lock-up garage attached to it.
Often.
So they're bigger than an apartment. You've still got a body corporate, but it's a very nice way to live. A lot of these developments are built close to public transport shops. So they have become very popular. I reckon those, Gary, have gone up by 15% since this time last year.
You know what? You are known to have the occasional embellishment, but I think you're right with that one, Phil. They have really run away, and of course 6 bidders at that one at Orong Road, where the reserve was in its range or thereabouts.
Good. Speaking of Orong Road, Gary,
$933 it sold for.
Good to have the coffee vans back.
Oh yeah, Phil.
And
miss the coffee van.
Shout out, viewers. I love the coffee vans, not just because I love coffee, but I love the way it brings people together and they converse around our coffee vans. But one of the nice things shout out to Ricky and Brittany Krongold, who have finished school, who are now working on our coffee vans.
Is that right?
And it's just so gorgeous to see a second generation.
Yeah.
My boys have been on, your Daniel and Nina have been on. Now we've got Darren's kids that are coming through. And I was somewhat shocked because his girls have grown up. They're now young ladies. And
why are you shocked? What's shocking about that?
I didn't recognise them. In fact, I didn't recognise one of them this morning.
Is that right?
Because they've become these lovely young ladies.
Right?
So
there you go.
well done to Darren's beautiful wife, Hayley, because you've managed to bring these girls up so beautifully. Good thing that Darren's been at work a lot.
Now, I think, I'm going to take you up on that because I've got to say that I think Darren is a superb and wonderful father and husband.
I didn't say that he wasn't.
Oh, well, there was sort of a little bit of underlying.
It was really just
having, stirring kind of taking the piss moment, which we do on this show, by the way, of course. We take the piss. That's the good Aussie humour.
Lovely to see generations of people coming through our business, and the coffee van does give jobs to young people. So if you've got a young person at home that is related to you, perhaps, and you'd like them to get
them off the couch, pull them out.
We're always looking for good young people to work on our coffee vans.
Yeah, we're always looking for those.
Can you say that anymore, Gary? Will you say we're looking for good young people? Because that's a bit ageist.
Can you say young? Can you say girl? Can you say man? Can you say boy?
Older people that want to work on our coffee vans. So
I'm so confused.
We probably get to a letter from the Equal Opportunity Commissioner.
We've offended. See, it's so hard not to be offensive just by talking. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know anymore. 61 Scott Street. Well done to Yvonne, a keen watcher of GPTV, and gee, it was great to see you, Yvonne. 61 Scott Street sold, Philip, $1,249,000, and we had lots of bidders there, Phil. We had 4 bidders going at it, Phil.
We did, Gary, and we handed out a lot of the new Gary Poon Associates shopping bags.
Yes.
If you're looking
tote bags.
If you want one of those tote bags,
we'll
they
get
are
an
the
image.
Latest and greatest. We're going to put one up on screen now. If you'd like one of these, we imported 45,000 of these from China, so they're limited editions.
Cost us about 6 cents each.
No, they actually cost us much more than that.
Oh, is that right?
But if you'd like a tote bag, they're great to go to the beach. They're great to go to the supermarket. They're great to take on your arm to other agents' auctions. But they're free. We're giving them away, Gary.
And I've got to say, Phil, I actually went to the supermarket with one of those in Sydney. Not that anyone would know a brand that well in Sydney. Well, a few people do know it's a city, believe it or not. And they're strong, Phil. They're strong. They're little robust buggers, they are.
Yeah, no, we spent an extra 6 cents on getting the seams that are sewn that don't just drop out.
I thought it was 6 cents altogether. Anyway, 3 Filbert Street, Phil. Now, that was one of our really powerful auctions there, Phil.
Are we allowed to say the price,
Yeah,
Gary?
we are. It sold for $1,850,000, Philip.
That is a new record price for a renovated timber home in Caulfield South. New record price. But having said that, I think the buyers bought well because the market's jumped. The sellers sold well, but gorgeous renovation.
And you had a few buyer advocates in there, Phil, trying to rattle you a little bit.
Gary, we did.
Good on you.
We managed to get through that, although I did stumble over the bidding on that one.
Is that right?
No.
Is it happening now?
Well, you know
what?
Are
you there?
It's
dementia there
Well,
yet?
Gary, I did 8 auctions on the weekend. I
stumbled. 5, 8. I can't remember.
I did 8. 5 on Sunday, 3 on Saturday. That's 8. And I stumbled over the bidding on one of them. So I don't think that qualifies as dementia at this point.
That's good to know.
But we are monitoring it.
It does start somewhere.
It
does start somewhere, Phil. 93 Murray Street. Well, that was sold. That is disclosed. $2 million, Philip, for Murray Street. I think someone, again, that was one, I'm not sure if the buyer or underbidder just came on the day, Phil. But 4 bidders for that fantastic property. Phil, 23 to 25 Laura Street. Shout out to the vendor and the family there.
Loveliest family,
lovely family. Themselves, real estate agents at one point. And their own real estate business, and of course there's nothing more, I guess, honourable and complimentary than selling for estate agents.
We have been entrusted by many estate agents, Gary. We are the estate agent's agent.
We like
that. Which says we must be doing something right.
Undisclosed, Phil, but 4 or 5 strong bidders taking that many hundreds of thousands of dollars beyond what we thought it might get.
Offering that one, Gary. Very rare to get a double block in South Caulfield together with a tennis court, and that one was north-south because the land was so big.
Indeed, Phil. 4189 Hawthorne Road, another successful auction of Jeremy Rosen's, sold for $715,000, well above expectations. 52 Erseldon Street, another one that Jeremy Rosen's auctioned well. He's been a busy young man, that Jeremy Rosen's.
He was out and about looking very nice in his Ocean's 11 blue suit,
loves it.
Gary. I looked at that and I thought, gee, he looks smart. But he and Daniel Michmacher brought home the goods in Erseldon Street. Don't know whether
2745, Phil. Price is disclosed.
Don't know whether the price is undisclosed.
No worries.
2745 compared competitive auction, 4 people bidding for that. That style of property really has come so into fashion as people are saying, give me a house with absolutely everything. Yep. I'll take that on a small parcel of land rather than a house with not so much on a bigger parcel of land.
Who said that?
So it's becoming quite
just
apparent.
one name. I want one name. Okay, fair enough. Good. Alinda Street, 2B Alinda Street. Phil Lee or Samuel doing his craft as an auctioneer, or displaying his craft as an auctioneer, sold that well for $1,206,000. Philip, again, a popular property.
I'm exhausted, Gary. We're coming up to this weekend, where it's a long weekend.
Four bidders on that one, Phil.
Those of us that work hard, Gary, will be looking forward to a rest and a break.
459 Glenora Road, Phil. 5 bidders on that property.
Yes, Gary.
1,520.
Gorgeous vanilla brick 50s home. I love that style of architecture.
Don't you love a bit of vanilla? And look, I can keep going. There's great apartment
There's
sales.
a shortage. I read this the other day. There's a shortage of vanilla bean in the world.
That's terrible. What a shocking crisis. I can't understand why it's not dominating front page of the paper. Phil, there's a shortage of cars too, apparently. I was told on the way in there.
Shortage of flat screen televisions.
Is that right?
Yeah,
really?
No, you cannot get flat screen televisions. You can, but there are no great deals. So if you're thinking about buying a flat screen television, wait 12 months before the supply chain, when the supply chain gets back to pre-COVID levels.
You know, we're just about to buy 6, aren't you, for all our offices with our new system.
We shouldn't be, Gary, because there is a shortage of them and the prices have gone up.
Price is the price. Well, sometimes you can't live your life just worrying about how much these are. Hey, we got some awards we'll talk about next week on GPTV, because I think we need something to talk about next week because we've got no auctions to review.
Believe me, I think, Gary, you'll find something to talk about.
Phil,
nothing.
I'm going to talk about 8 Craddock Avenue, Phil, because this magnificent home is going to auction tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Phil,
home,
tell us a bit about this.
First of all, Craddock is one of those magnificent streets. That's a bit of a sleeper street. You drive down that street and there's incredible houses.
Beautiful homes,
and it connects Langdon Road to Hawthorne Road. So beautiful top street. This is part of the Craddock estate that was sold off many years ago as parcels of land. This is a beautiful home built by Shoal Haven Developments and James Cantianis, who, by the way, James,
great job,
I was about to say happy birthday. No, James, congratulations to you and Helen on the birth of your second little baby boy. So shout out to James, who we got there because he built this house for himself. And it is just the most stunning home. Shoal Haven Developments.
What's that got to do with his baby, the house? And
he just had a baby last week. Okay. Anyway, this house in Craddock Avenue is magnificent. And it's got the best feng shui, Gary, because it's got this sense of calm. It's got beautiful gardens that wrap right around it. It's got this incredible water feature, tranquil. In the back. But have a look at the photos and have a look at the click online, go and have a look at the tour of this property because it is magnificent.
A few more to get through quickly, Phil. On Thursday, we've got double auction action. We've got 5:30 p.m. for Anderson Street, Phil. You've got auction honours of that terrific property. Gary. Great address, Phil, and great looking home.
Terrific. Yep. Great opportunity there for somebody to buy a beautiful family home on a very large parcel of land. And then I'm going to move the show, if you like, Gary. I'm going to move the show
just up the road
to Somerset Street in Elstonwick, which is a great property. Have a look at that property.
Fantastic looking property, Phil.
Up on screen now. Doesn't get any better than that.
You'll be meeting Lemore Herskowitz there, the Lemore and Nikki show on Thursday, Phil. Saturday, Jeremy Rosen's auctions. We've only got the one auction on Saturday, Phil, because it is a long weekend. We don't traditionally auction a lot of properties, although occasionally we've done it. It does do well.
I think we've got to change that,
Gary. Maybe, but I think you need a rest. I think you're a bit tired.
No, I didn't say I would do them on a long weekend.
No,
you could do them on a long weekend. I don't think this whole concept. I mean, we live in a Zoom world, a FaceTime world, a Skype world, instant messaging, people with video on their phones and all that sort of stuff.
Don't mess with tradition.
Why wouldn't we auction, particularly as you can't go anywhere anymore?
You don't mess with tradition too much. I don't like the fact that the Anzacs can't march too, Phil. I'm worried about that. I'm concerned. That's not great, is it?
That's an unusual call.
Yeah, call that one. Maybe it'll be reversed. Phil, 6 at 340 Dandenong Road. St Kilda East goes up on Saturday. Jeremy Rosen's auctions. Michael Jonas is the handling agent. And Phil, we've got one property to talk about, which I think we should. I know that you've been excited about this one for some time, as we all have.
I'm excited about all of our properties.
327 Alma Road, Phil. That magnificent period home is coming up for auction. I think Joel Sir's been the man that's been involved in that.
He is the man. That is the most beautiful home on a fairly large sized parcel of land too. So you're getting a house, you're getting a swimming pool, you're getting this incredibly beautiful renovation, you're getting this large parcel of land, walking distance to, of course, tram in Dandenong Road, train at the Armadale train station, the Alma Village Shopping Centre, which just gets better and better. This is a gorgeous house in a very attractive price range, which bizarrely an attractive price range now goes $2 to $3 million. Who would have ever thought?
Who would have thunk it? You know, it was interesting. I just did an auction on the weekend just here on Balaclava Road, which sold.
Yes.
A lovely couple that was selling it as well, Phil. But and a delightful family that bought it. We might even have a photo of them with two beautiful little boys that were so nicely behaved. And, you know, just talking about Caulfield North, and I was talking about the fact that you've got a Fitzy here, you've got Peterman, you've got Baker Blue, which you so well cleverly placed into there. Moves them out of their small premises.
Shout out to the team at Baker Blue.
They do a great job. And of course, the pantry on the corner here, Phil, if that's not going to be a further game changer, what more do we need in Caulfield North?
The Parkside Pantry, it's called, which is the same people that have done the pantry in
Brighton.
And I think, look, Gary, I drove past the other day. I reckon they're 3 weeks away from opening.
How good is that going to be?
We'll have to go. Very excited because I hope they bring the whole white tablecloth, gorgeous people approach to there, which means we're going to be the odd people out when we have our lunch there.
Well, we'll be doing takeaway. They probably won't have a table for us.
There's nothing blonde or gorgeous about either of us, but you know, we've got good personalities.
Yeah, we might get in on that. Just sneak a little seat at the back somewhere where we can't be seen. But
did you find a lot that when you were young and single that people used to say, look, he's got a good personality?
I had a little bit of that. Not even that much of that, actually, Phil. But I've got to say, Philip, my darling wife just had a big birthday. I'm very, very happily married. I did find her young and trapped her at a young age, Phil, which has been wonderful. So happy birthday, big shout out to my darling wife.
You're going to give us away the number, Gary?
No, I'm not going to do that. You know, she says 27 forever, and my mother had a similar sort of story, so we'll just stick with that theme. But happy birthday.
Shout out, happy birthday, many happy returns. May you be blessed with a gorgeous and brilliant life for the rest of your life.
And me by her side, Phil.
Baruch Hashem 120.
With me by her side, it's unlikely to be anything but that. Phil, that is a big wrap on GPTV. The market is strong. Things are happening. 88 bidders on the weekend. Let's just remember that.
Wow.
A lot of people to place in homes. So if you're thinking of selling, we've got a lot of buyers on our books. Just that little sample alone, Phil, as a starting point of people looking to buy in the world of real estate, of which we live, dwell, enjoy and celebrate and love on a daily basis. We'll bring you the news next week on GPTV. I'm Gary Pearce.
I'm Philip Kingston. Have a magnificent week and a fantastic long weekend.